Alright, the good news is I'm going fishing today. The bad news is it's blowing 900 miles an hour, roughly. Got a big front coming tomorrow. A lot of return flow off the Gulf today. It's really warmed up, 68 degrees right now. And that's kind of giving me a little bit of spring fever. I don't know, maybe late winter fever. It's definitely early in the game, but I want to go see if I can catch any crappie, which we here in South Louisiana call sac-a-lait. I'm hoping some have moved up to the spawning beds to begin the annual propagation of the species. That usually doesn't happen here until February, and it kind of peaks on this river in March, but it just feels right with this warm weather, got a hard overcast. Just feels like it should happen if I can overcome this wind. But you never know until you go, and that's why I'm heading out. All right, so apparently wind isn't going to be the only factor I have working against me. The water looks absolutely terrible. We got a bunch of rain here on Saturday. It didn't last very long, but it was heavy. And today's only Tuesday, so we're only 3 days after that rain. And apparently this river just hasn't cleaned up yet. But the good thing about this river system, it's actually 3 different rivers that combine into one. So a lot of times if one is dirty, the other 2 won't be. Or if 2 are dirty, 1 won't be. So I do still have some options. Now the water temp is 57 degrees. It's a little cool for sac-a-lait, but it's doable. I'd rather in the low 60s, but... Oh, there's one. Oh, there we go. What is that? Oh, it's a brim. Not what we were looking for, but still a healthy sized brim. What are you doing feeding today? All right, please be a sac-a-lait. Oh, looks like another brim. The brim are chewing. This episode of Marsh Man Masson brought to you by Puglia Sporting Goods. Man, you would think if the brim are shallow, there would be some sac-a-lait shallow. Let's see what you are. You look nice, whatever you are. Big old brim. Look at this guy. Why are the brim eating today? What are you? What are you? Another brim. Well, my sac-a-lait trip has turned into a brim trip. Not nearly as big as the last, but I'm going to keep it. All right, on to greener pastures. I like brim and all, but the goal today is crappie. All right, so my guess is the crappie haven't moved back yet, but they're probably staging. So I'm going to check some of these boat docks and see if I can get some bites under them while I'm being barked at by a, what is that, a golden or a yellow lab? Might be yellow lab. All right, time to leave the dog. All right, the water in here is substantially better. Unfortunately, some kind of work going on up here. It's almost like somebody's pressure washing something. I don't know what's going on, but it's about to get very noisy. Oh yeah, he's definitely pressure washing. So we left the barking dog and now we got the pressure washer. All right, there we go. There's a sac-a-lait. There we go. Crappie number 1. All right, first of the season. Not a big one, but boy, that's a sight for sore eyes. That is awesome. Man, I love these fish. I tell you what, they're enigmatic. They'll drive you crazy. You'll think about them all night while you're trying to sleep. But man, they're just so tasty and so fun to target. This one was hooked well. So you got to figure out it was a male that moved up to make a bed. Just an eager spawner. There's so many leaves on the surface, it's so difficult to get a clean cast. You can tell when that cork just doesn't fall, that the jig head's being supported by a floating leaf or something along those lines. Lots of cypress needles. So I told Joel before I came fishing that I'd be happy with just one crappie. But now I've proven to be a liar, because I'm not happy with one, I want more. Just such a good sign that these fish are moving up. It'll be crazy good in a couple of weeks. And look, I don't ever kill the crappie here. A good outing for us. We'll come in the afternoons, typically last 2 hours of the day, and we might catch 15 or 16. That's really actually good. Sometimes it's just 10 or 12. We have caught as many as 50, but that's very rare. And I know there are areas that are way better than this place. This is just so convenient for us. Just such a fun fish to target. Oh, I missed him. That was a good takedown. All right, there's one. There's one. Get in the boat. Get in the boat. There we go. There we go. That's a good sac-a-lait. There we go. That's definitely a white. You got white crappie and black crappie. That's definitely a white. Much longer, more slender, and less mottled. Oh, he was so good. They're definitely not thick yet, but man, this is a great omen of what's to come. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Get in the boat. There we go. Number 3. Another white. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. All right, they are stacked up. Look at this. That's a black. That's a black. Oh, is he hooked well? That's a good sign. Come on, hurry up. Gotta make hay while the sun's shining. Now, some days they want that cork aggressively popped. Today, that is definitely not the case. They seem to want it just sitting still. Probably because that water's still so cold.
This episode of Marsh Man Masson brought to you by Magnolia Vodka, and by Fitzgerald Fishing, and by Cito New Orleans, and by Versamax Corks, and by Death Grip Jig Heads.
All right, there's another one. Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a big one. That's a good one. That's why you come here. The other ones were not nearly as nice. This is a beautiful sac-a-lait. Well, maybe it just looks big because of the small ones I was catching. All right, there's one. There's one. Another sac-a-lait. Look at that. Look at that. That's a bit nice white. Nice white. Ooh, man, I was lucky to get him. His mouth tore. Oh, I missed him. So that time my cork came up, and that's common with sac-a-lait. They feed up, the cork rises instead of plunges. See if he'll hit again, but I doubt it, because I felt him. Oh, Todd. That was a good one. That was a good one. Let's see if he's got a buddy. All right, there we go. He did have a buddy. Get in the boat. There we go. Good sac-a-lait. Pretty fish. Man, is he pretty. That's a big black sac-a-lait. So the wind just went to an extreme level. Make it impossible for me to cast where I need to. So as you can tell, it's really getting late. It's getting dark. I should definitely head on. That's the problem with these fish. They bite until it's pitch black, which means you run the river in the dark. The problem is, this river is very different than it was the last time I was on it because of all of the rains we've had the past few months. So there's stick-ups and stumps and blowdowns everywhere. I really don't want to run it in the dark. My seconds are winding down. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. All right, I gotta call it. I gotta call it. Got no choice. Much as I hate to. All right, so we here in South Louisiana call them sac-a-lait. Across most of the country, they're known as crappie. A lot of people in the South call them white perch. But whatever you call them, you should definitely not turn people down when they invite you over to eat them, because let me tell you, these fish are delicious. Best eating fish that swims, period. Now I'm gonna take you real quickly through my rig today. I was using a Berkley Cherrywood Ultralight teamed with a Shimano Sedona reel. This is just kind of my sac-a-lait rig. I've been using it for years. It works well, no reason to change it. Now spooled on this is 6-pound mono. Sometimes I go as low as 4-pound, but on here today is 6-pound. That's strong enough to straighten out those hooks when you get snagged, and you can just bend those hooks back. You break off here and there, but not a whole lot. Now I've got a really tiny styrofoam cork, about 2 feet, I guess, above a 1/32 ounce Big Bite Baits jig. And team with that, I got a Big Bite Baits popsicle colored micro jig with a curly tail. Chartreuse curly tail. I find sac-a-lait like obnoxious colors, by and large. It's not always true, and I'll tell you this, they are very, very color picky. I'm not a big color person. If I'm targeting speckled trout, redfish, bass, whatever, I'm not all that big into changing colors. I believe in color schemes and big broad color patterns, but man, with these sac-a-lait, that's not true. You gotta try various different colors until you figure out what they want, because they are very, very finicky, very tough sometimes to get to feed. And today, they definitely seem to want this popsicle colored. Well, that's it. I gotta hurry up and get home. This camera's gathering a lot of light. Believe me, it's a lot darker than you think it is. And I gotta run this river all the way to my house. So we're gonna call it a night. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, got something out of it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the Marsh Man Masson channel on YouTube. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. Until next time, if we don't see you in the marsh, or in the swamp, or in the river, we'll see you right here on Marsh Man Masson.